responds to what is being tested. Validity is defined as the extent to which an assessment accurately measures what is intended to measure.
Um, in educational assessment, validity refers to how well a test or assessment measures what it intends to measure. It's about whether the test or the assessment accurately capture the skills, knowledge, or abilities it is supposed to evaluate. Um, in other terms, validity means how will a test actually measure what it's supposed to measure. Example, imagine you have a math test. If the test is valid, if the test is valid, it accurately measures your math skills. Nasabtan na? So there are 7 types of validity: content validity, phase validity, predictive validity, construct validity, concurrent validity, convergent validity, and divergent validity. Let us first discuss the content validity. Mr. Juarez, can you please read?
Content validity. Degree to which a test or assessment instrument evaluates all aspects of the topic, construct or behavior that design.
In educational assessment, content validity is like making sure that the test is a good match for what students have been learned in class. And it refers to how will the content of the assessment aligns with the learning objectives and curriculum. For example, imagine you're making a test to see how your student good in English. So to have a good content validity, this test or the test should include the questions about vocabulary, grammar, reading, and writing. Not just focus on one thing like spelling. Kasabot mo, what is content validity? Next, we have phase validity. This week.
Phase validity refers to the degree which a test or assessment test subjectivity occurs to measure the variable or construct that is supposed to measure.
So, in educational assessment, the phase validity is basically asking, does this test seem to measure what's supposed to measure? For instance, if you see a test called math skill assessment, and the questions are all about addition, subtraction, and multiplication, it has a good phase validity because it looks like it's testing math skills. It's like judging a book by its cover. It's about the first impression and whether the test appears to be the right track with what it's trying to measure. Next, we have predictive validity.
Predictive validity. Degree to which a test score or construct scale predicts a criterion variable measuring a future outcome, behavior, or performance.
In educational assessment, the predictive validity refers to how a test or assessment can predict a student's future performance or outcomes in a related academic setting. It's about using the test scores to forecast how well students will do in future courses, programs, or educational experience. Example, let's say high school uses a placement test to determine which math class a student should take. It's sa algebra ba, sa geometry, or calculus. The school wants to know if this placement test accurately or abilities that they are intended to measure. Let's say a school wants to assess students' reading comprehension skills. They develop a test that includes reading. So they develop a test that includes readings followed by questions to determine how will student understand what they read. The school wants to ensure this test has a good construct validity for measuring school reading comprehension. Next, we have concurrent validity. Ms. Bautista.
Concurrent validity shows you the extent of the agreement between two measures or assessments taken at the same time.
In the educational assessment, concurrent validity is when the scores from the new test match up with the scores from the well-known test. If the students who do well the new test is good at measuring reading comprehension, it's like saying if you understand the story in one test, you should understand the story in two tests too. Next, we have convergent validity.
Convergent validity refers to how closely a test related to other tests that measure the same or similar constructs.
So convergent validity is how closely a test related to other tests, measuring the same or similar construct. So in convergent validity is about using two different ways to measure the same thing, like two different tests that are supposed to measure how much students like learning. Again, the convergent validity is about using two different ways to measure how well students understand the concept. Example, we have math test A. This test has regular question this test math test A na irregular question which is the addition, subtraction, and word problem. While sa math test B, this test is more hands-on siya activities with activities like drawing graphs, interpreting data, and explaining how the problem is. So to check convergent validity, both test A and test B are given to the same group of the students. If the score from test A, which is the regular question, match with the test B, which is the hands-on quiz question or hands-on task, it means that both test and measuring the same thing, students' understanding of the math concept. And the last, we have divergent validity.
Divergent validity helps to establish construct validity by demonstrating that the construct you are interested in.
So divergent validity in educational assessment is like making sure that a test is asking the right questions for what it's supposed to measure. Example, let's say that a test to measure how creative students are. So divergent validity checks if this test is really about creativity and not as it's really assessment should not just giving a grade, but also about helping students, learn and grow. Three, we have the statement of goals and objectives should be clearly aligned with the measurable outcomes of the performance activity. The goal and it means that the goal and objectives that the teacher set for lesson or project should clearly match with the students are expected to achieve what can measure at the end. For example, if a teacher's goal is for students to improve their reading comprehension, so the objectives should be specific about what skills students well developed, such as identifying main ideas, making inference, or summarizing. Four, we have the task should not examine extraneous. It means that the task should not include the unnecessary or unimportant or unrelated things. Last, we have performance assessment should be fair and free from bias. Means that grading and assessment should be based on objective criteria, not influenced by personal feelings or biases. Mostly karon daghan ka ng teachers gani nga kanang bias na labi na kanang mga pag-umangko nila sa elementary, pag-umangko nila mga pamilya. This is important in education to ensure that students are